Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, a.k.a. Man of the People. I can now reclaim my title because I'm back up and getting you guys this regular information about the Carolina Panthers. Hey, thanks for all the positive comments from the last video. One that I hadn't had a chance to respond to online, so I'm going to respond to here. C3 Podcast showed me a lot of love, so like those guys, been working with them for a long time. If you haven't had a chance to check out Tony and the crew, four-man crew, that's pretty big podcast over there. Please be sure to check them out. But I'm back, gonna do my best to continue to keep you up to date with all the latest moves with this Carolina Panthers team. And as you log on, please, let's continue to remember, YouTubers, we always ask for this one thing: hit the like button, okay? Especially if you're a regular, hit that like button every time you see me come online. It helps other Panther fans find out about all this hard work that I'm putting in. So I really would appreciate it. And I always say it, the bigger I grow, the more I can do. So please also consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. So let's go ahead and talk about some things, but let me also get into the habit of making sure I give you all some love for those people that are signing in, checking me out. We got Drew Williamson that says, what's going on? We got my man Candy Man 74559. You couldn't have figured out. I mean, what do those numbers stand for? Let me know. Let me know. And then we got Mike Rand joining us. I'm sorry, Ms. Rand. I'm so sorry. So sorry. It says, hey, Chris, what's going on? Knucklehead K, you know what happens with our members? They get a lot of special sound effects when they come on. So please also consider becoming a member. Members are the backbone of this channel. They help support us financially because we're independent. So please do that. We also have members chats that we will be doing. And, we just talk more about this team, answer any questions to you that you all may have. So please consider doing that. And we got one more we'll get to. Phi Beta hit us. What's going on? All right. So appreciate all the love from everybody. And we're going to get started here. So Carolina Panthers have been pretty busy. And as you may imagine, they have been pretty busy because they hired Dan Morgan I won't say several weeks ago, but a week ago or so. And now they have their new head coach in place, Dave Canales, I'm sorry. And they're going to start to make some changes to their coaching staff. So that's what we're going to go over today in no particular order. And as always, I go live for the reason of interacting with you all, taking your questions, whatever they may be, technical, untechnical, football 101. I'm here for it all. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me get to my notes here. And I will say this, my son has been pretty rowdy today. I'm at the home studio, as you may can tell. So you may hear the little guy at some point today as I try to get to my notes to get started for today. Who does a video doesn't have the notes right in front of them? Nobody but me. Notes, where are you? I got to stop doing that like singing stuff when I'm talking because I kind of forget that everybody's watching and they're going to hear me singing as I try to find my notes. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with a few things here. Let's talk about this guy right here. Your interim head coach, Chris Tabor, has been notified that the Carolina Panthers will not be retaining his services. So let's put this back up here one more time. Chris Tabor, former NFL interim head coach of the Carolina Panthers, will not be retained by this Carolina Panthers team at all, or I should say at this point, I don't know why I keep saying Dave Canales head coach. So here's a little bit of information about this. When Tabor was named interim head coach, I don't believe anybody expected him to become the head coach. Now, he did get a chance to interview for the head coach and did not make that, as obviously by the new Canales appointing. But you had a feeling that he'd have a pretty good chance to maintain with the team, because specifically they had blocked him from an interview with the New York Giants for their special teams position. So he said, hey, they want this guy. But he's no longer with us. So my assumptions, and I don't have source with this, but my assumption is that they wanted to keep Tabor around because they felt like he's an asset. He's a good quality coach, right? But they're going to also let Canales pick the guys that's with the team. So they kind of like, hey, let's try to keep this guy as long as we can and then see how the new guy feels about it. And I would say my assumption is that Canales decided that he did not want Tabor, so therefore Tabor has been released. Unfortunately, they blocked him previously, but he's now free with 2 years left on his contract to seek employment by anybody else. And my guess is that he will not be unemployed too long because he was a highly respected person at that position for special teams. But again, Chris Tabor has not been retained by the Carolina Panthers. All right, moving on. We got some more. This guy right here, who is also a very respected coach in the NFL world, offensive lineman James Campen. Campen will not be retained by this Canales-led coaching. And, you know, they I don't know what to say about this one. Offensive line certainly was underwhelming this past season. You had a lot of troubles, but you also had a lot of things going on with injuries. You had so many right guards. I don't know if you could name them all. Bet you I could win a lot of money if I was to offer you $50 if you could name all the right guards in 10 seconds or less. I know I couldn't, but despite all the challenges, et cetera, I still feel like the release of Campen is not any indication that he's not a good coach, but it's just an indication that Canales is going to come in and really get the guys that he wants in on this team and not, take the guys that were left over. All righty. Now, in terms of the people that we're seeking, all right, because again, we let go of Tabor, who, I will say this, watching Tabor do some coaching, do things like timeouts and different things that he did with special teams, having Camus Gruger-Hill do on kickoffs at certain times, it was pretty cool to watch that. And that's something that you probably would say you would only see from a guy that has special teams coaching because he's really in tune with everybody's abilities and being a head coach. He gets to pull the strings however he wants. So it was interesting and cool to see him do some of the things that he did. It was not at all cool to see how he wasn't able to get any production offensively out of this team the last 2 weeks, but that's another story. So Canales is targeting Tracy Smith as the special teams coordinator, and he is currently with Seattle. As you know, Canales previously was with the Bucs, but he spent a lot of his career, got groomed in the NFL through his time at Seattle. So again, Canales is currently trying to get special teams coordinator Tracy Smith from Seattle to come and be a part of this Carolina Panthers organization. All right, continue to move on through some of the things and news that we have. Now, as official as it can be, I felt like it was official before it became more official. Uh-oh. You guys might hear Junior. He's getting closer to my door. So here's a side story. And again, for those that may be new to the channel and me, I'm the media guy that's very personal, share my life with you, share my family. I'm just a guy that was lucky enough to have credentials for the Carolina Panthers. And I like to bring as much unique perspective and information as possible while also connecting with you guys. So that's why I share some of these moments with y'all. My son, he's almost 2.5 now. And man, he it's funny with his personality. He just loves mom highly, mom. But he's like such a brat at the same time. So it's interesting, that dynamic, watching those two go at it. So hopefully she'll be able to keep him at bay. But you might see him before the show's over. But nevertheless, Thomas Brown, offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, talked about this yesterday. Did not foresee him staying with this team. Yeah, you could say he had a tough go at it. Frank let him not call plays, not call plays, call plays. But just as I mentioned, Tabor was a part of this team that finished the season with 2 goose eggs, which was, I must say, the toughest thing to watch since I've been covering this team. I've been covering this team for more than 15 years, and watching back-to-back goose eggs, the worst, the absolute worst. But Thomas Brown, he was a part of that. He has to take ownership of it. I'm sure he will, but he's not going to be retained as the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. But that was no surprise when yesterday came out about the wide receivers coach for the Bucs being requested to be spoken to for the offensive coordinator position here in Carolina. So that's not a surprise there. As Brad Liszak, I believe is how you pronounce the guy's name, from the Bucs that they're currently seeking as an offensive coordinator. But Thomas Brown, I think he's going to do fine. And his quest for a new job, put him back up there one more time. So, anytime I put a graphic back up and I pause, it's because I don't want you guys to see me eating some ice cream while I take a break, even though you might hear the spoon, right? Nevertheless, Brown, he's had a head coaching interview with the Tennessee Titans. And then he's had 3 coordinator interviews, Steelers, Bears, and Patriots. So no surprise there that he's not with the Panthers, but I think he's going to land someplace pretty quick. Also, the Eagles' senior offensive assistant, Marcus Brady, is another candidate for the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. Again, that is Eagles senior offensive assistant Marcus Brady. He is a candidate for the offensive coordinator as well. So that'll get you up to date with some of the latest things that are going on with this Carolina Panthers team. Geno Smith, I had a chance to speak with some reporters yesterday, and Geno basically gave very, very high endorsement of Canales as a head coach. What comes to mind for Canales is his work with quarterbacks. So Geno Smith, when working with him, he was able to be the comeback player of the year. Baker Mayfield is who he worked with most recently this year. He's one of the finalists for that comeback player of the year. I don't know if you all have any thoughts on who you think should be the comeback player of the year in the NFL. I know that's not particular and specific to the Carolina Panthers, but we talk all things football here. So I know a few of the people are Baker Mayfield, that's on that list. The quarterback for Cleveland, was it Flacco that came? Gosh darn, I forget the quarterback for the Browns that came in. So help me out. Put those in the comments. And then DeMar Hamlin, he's another candidate. So that's part of the list. I think it's a total of 5 guys. So any ideas on who you think should be the comeback player of the year, let me know. Leave it in the comments. So that does get you up to date with all my notes for recent changes with this Carolina Panthers team. Again, you have Chris Tabor, interim head coach, special teams guy. He's gone. James Campen, offensive line coach. He's gone. And Thomas Brown, offensive coordinator. He's gone. All these photos, of course, by our excellent photographer, Patrick Snyder. Got us lots of great images. Next up, you got the NFC, AFC championships tomorrow. You have the Senior Bowl that's coming up during that bye week, if you will, that they're going to have in the NFL. Then you're going to have the Super Bowl, and then you're going to have the Combine. I will be at the Combine in Indianapolis. I'm going to be there for about 3 days. So continue to hit that subscribe button, turn your bell notifications so that you can go live and hear about what all we're going to, what all information we're able to get up there. Presumably, there's going to be an opportunity to talk with the new head coach, Dave Canales, up there. Now, that will not be the media's first time to talk with him. I strongly believe that this week coming up, we're going to have the chance to formally talk to Canales, maybe Morgan, and probably David Tepper. Probably. So that's typically how it happens. When we have the new coach, Tepper will certainly speak to the media during the part where the coach is introduced. Not sure if he's going to take questions, but he typically does take questions. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some of these comments that have been coming through. Appreciate all the comments. As always, we'll try to get through as many as we can before we jump off. But thanks everybody who's been logging in and hit that like button and supporting the channel. Thomas Frisbee, interesting to see Tabor won't be retained, but understandable. Also, Ivero doesn't stay. It would be interesting to see if they can get Frazier to coach the defense. So yeah, about Ivero and Thomas, it's 2 days in a row where you help me remember other things. So I have lots of information, and sometimes I just need prompting from you guys to get that out. So please continue to man the people. Really sincerely means I'm here for any and all the questions that you all have during the time that I'm live. So Ivero continues to get lots and lots of looks. And it's always been slim, in my opinion, that we'll be able to retain him unless, unless Canales really wants him. And then I think it'll be a matter of the checkbook that Tepper would have to open up. But nevertheless, Ivero today is having his second interview with the Seattle Seahawks for their head coaching position. So that's the latest with Ivero. He's had many interviews, the latest being a second interview, which is significant, with the Seattle Seahawks. What's up, Panthers Nation? If the front office don't keep pounding, the fans might stop too. Nice comment there. Nice comment there. Greg Olson looking to become a head coach. Maybe we should bring him to coach tight end or passing game coordinator. So I don't feel like Greg Olson would leave. I don't know what his salary is off the top of my head, but he's in that top spot for the crews that they have coaching the games. I know he did the Super Bowl last year. So he's getting paid extremely well to be in the booth calling some games. And I don't think that he'd come down for a tight end position coach because he'd be losing a lot of money. And, he loves being in the booth. I feel like based on his success and based on the fact that he let people know that he was interested in the head coaching job, that he would only give it up if he knew he was going to have a nice accelerated path towards becoming a head coach. And tight end coach doesn't really give me that case, give me that feeling that, yeah, he's going to be there as a tight end coach. Previous regime, Frank Wright, he was really big on having guys come back and be a part of practice and help coach guys up. During that time, Greg Olson wasn't around. And I would say that's because of his job with the networks. It takes a lot of time to study up on each team that he has to broadcast for each week. So I like the hope there, Drew. Don't feel too optimistic about it. Grim Weeper says, we still get hate by the media. Grim, okay. Maybe I missed a comment to have some context around that, but right now I don't know what to say about it. B Stallion, hey Chris, man of the people, got to finish filling out the office so decisions can be made on the roster and what direction the team is going in. Please update the scouting department. Go Panthers. So, man, there is a lot to be filled in with this Carolina Panthers team, including the roster stuff, right? And you have a ton of free agents, right? So, yeah, I'm not going to start going into this more so, dominoes start to fall because it's just so many. Haven't heard from Canales yet on how he's going to try to structure this team. Haven't heard from Morgan. Haven't heard from Tepper, right? So you have no idea. But I'm just going to take 2 seconds, all right, maybe 5, because I don't want to read through them all, on the free agents that we have and why it is so hard to say what this team is going to look like because there's so many moving pieces right now. Raheem Blackshear, DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, Amir Smith-Marset, Derek Wright, Giovanni Richards, Stephen Sullivan, M. Manning, David Sharp. Those are just a few of the free agent people that aren't under contract that's currently just played with the Carolina Panthers. And there's a lot more to that list, a lot more. Some of you probably rattling off some right now saying, say this. But yeah, a lot of work to be done. We'll see how things continue to evolve, and I'll continue, Stallion, to keep you all up to date with that. If he's a brat, that means he is well taken care of. That is a comment that I made about my son being a brat to mom. Yeah, he is absolutely well taken care of. She doesn't like it when I call the kids spoiled or brat. She's like, they're loved. I get it. I'm not going to fight it. Knucklehead K, appreciate the comment there. Peter Blood, Bryce will thrive under this coach. Good things coming our way. So, yeah, that's what we're hoping for sure, right? Again, referencing Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, certainly can say, and I think we all, Panther fans, can really see firsthand what happened there. Baker Mayfield, when he was here, didn't have much success. Did not have much success. And got frustrated, wasn't going to be starting, asked to be traded, went to LA Rams, had a good first game there. I think he got Player of the Week when he first went to LA. And did respectable the rest of the way. Got picked up by Tampa on really a prove-it deal. Forget the contract, but it was such a low contract. Excuse me. I think maybe $4 million that they paid him. And it was filled with a lot of incentives, so much so that he got $1 million just by getting them into the playoffs, and got, I think, another almost $500,000 when they won a playoff game. So, that's a lot of money and incentives. A lot of success that Baker Mayfield had. Tons of yards passing, tons of TDs. Interceptions were under control. So, you gotta think that Canales, along with the quarterback's coach, but Canales is putting the plays out there, calling the plays, had something to do with that. Make sure he's putting these guys in a good position to succeed. So you got to think for Bryce Young that he's going to at least give him some more opportunities to I picked on a lot last year about getting the ball downfield, 20 yards or more. And it's not that I expect Bryce to be throwing the ball each and every play, bombs down the field. But I just felt like doing so would give you opportunities to loosen up the defense and do other things. and heck, you may hit one of those deep balls. We were only scoring 17, 15 points a game. So when you can dink, that really puts the defense not on their heels. They can kind of start crowding. Nevertheless, I'm with you. I'm certainly going to be slow in my trust with this team, but certainly as I see it, the improvement, see it again, then I'm going to be all for it. Certainly, I'm cheering for it, but I'm slow in my trust for it. Lots more pieces for these guys again to put together, because you got Bryce there, but you still, that list that I just read, that wasn't probably half of the free agents that we have. What kind of offense are you going to run? What kind of defense are you going to run? Who's your defensive coordinator going to be? Who's your offensive coordinator going to be? What is your line going to look like? You got a new special teams offensive line coach that's going to be coming in. What are you going to do with that guard situation? What about your receiver? I mean, that's what I mean. There's so many, right? So just going to be, slow, but just eager to watch it unfold, and we'll continue to break it down as it does unfold. Appreciate the comment, Peter. Dom34 says smash that subscribe button. Yes, please do. Drew says CMC should win every award this year. Christian McCaffrey is definitely balling out of control out there in San Francisco. Man, I remember watching I guess it was called the divisional game last week, when he ran over some guys and scored the ball, scored 6. Some impressive running. Christian McCaffrey is definitely worthy of some awards. And for those of you who are interested, he has put up his 12,000 square foot mansion, if you want to call it that, here in the Lake Norman area in Charlotte. I think it was about $7 million. I do remember it was like 6 bedrooms, 7.5 baths, something like that. So yeah, I think he knows he's not going to be back here anytime soon. Do you think the Panthers have a chance to bring in Mike Evans? All right, let me take a look at this really quick. Because to me it depends on this contract. If he's currently under contract, no. It's not like coaches who kind of can freely leave, but let's see. Hold on, I'm trying to look up Mike Evans' contract because I don't know it off the top of my head. Yeah, I can't quickly find out about his contract. I mean, Mike's been there for 10 years, so I don't. Okay, so Mike Evans, and you guys may have been hollering at me in the comments. I should have checked that to see. But yeah, Mike Evans is, a free agent. He spent 10 years down in Tampa, and Canales was a guy that came in and helped him have one of his best seasons as a pro. Certainly gave him some opportunities to have some big games. And wow, I would say there's a possibility. There is a possibility. I think Mike would want to see some more things fall into place because it's not like Canales who just comes in here and there's a lot of things in place. We just weren't that good. So I don't say it's a home run, like no brainer, because all those things I just mentioned, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, who's your line, what kind of things are you going to have in your quarterback do? What about your other wide receivers, right? So I think it's a possibility, but I don't think it's going to be one of those things that happens quickly, because I would feel like for Mike Evans, yeah, if you come to Carolina, you certainly, why would you come? I mean, a guy that's been in the league that long, you want to win. You either want to stay loyal to your current team that you're on, and 10 years is a pretty long time. Or if you leave, you want to go to a team that's going to be competing for a Super Bowl, not just have fun, right? He's already had fun being in the league all this time, setting the records that he's had. So he's had fun. So if I leave a place that I've been at for 10 years, that I've been successful at, that I obviously have a connection with the quarterback, and of course they don't know where Baker Mayfield's going to be, then I don't know if I'm going to be itching just to come to Carolina because my offensive coordinator is now there and the head coach, and I can put up some big numbers, but I'm on a team that's 4-13, 6-11. That's not ideal for a veteran. So though I say it is definitely a possibility because of the relationship, I don't see it as a significant possibility right now. Appreciate the question, Jake. Hope you guys enjoy seeing my brain churn as I walk through trying to figure that one out and think through it, but I think that's some good information. Looking through some more of these comments here. Give me John Barrera, DJ Kidco. Any idea when the intro press conference will be for Canales and Morgan? Yes, it will be this week coming up. It will be this week coming up. And you guys are going to see me get a piece of ice cream. I'm sorry. It's melting, and it was good. So any idea when I'm sorry, I just read this. So yeah, that press conference will be this week. Appreciate the question, John. Improvement is the main thing. Facts. Yeah. We just want to see some improvement. I would like to keep Amir Smith-Marset. Has speed, get the man the ball. Yeah. Just going through these comments here. Should have known anytime you talk about Christian McCaffrey, you may get a comment like this. Stupid trade, we should have kept CMC. Yeah, you should have kept CMC, but if you didn't have the people, aka coaches, administration, using him properly, then it still wouldn't have meant anything, right? We still could have had this guy that's doing extremely well, running the ball, but team not being able to get over the hump. So it's a lot of what is, but change this move that would have made that difficult. Okay, we got a Super Bowl pick here. Ravens and Niners in the Super Bowl. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I would not mind seeing that whatsoever. Chuck B saying Mike Evans wouldn't want to come here. And here you guys, yeah, he's a free agent, probably, but he'll probably get tagged. Yeah. Yeah, and this is Chuck B really, echoing the same things that I said about coming here. Now, there's not a lot of attraction if I'm like a big name player to want to come here, especially, unless it just ends up being a money thing. But it's hard for me to feel like if I had multiple opportunities and would I go to Carolina? Well, no, Carolina's obviously got to rebuild. They got to get some things together. Maybe if I'm a mid-level guy, I think we might get some good mid-level guys that you get them in here, get some good coaching, and they excel, and maybe they'll stay because we start to win. Hopefully that would be the case. But like I just said, 10 years, prime example. You get younger players that want to leave here because things aren't going well. You had Baker Mayfield last year want to leave. You had Robbie Anderson wanted to leave. You had this year Terrace Marshall Jr. He wanted to leave. You had Justin Houston. He wanted to leave. They just don't want to be here if they feel, when you feel like there's other opportunities. And Mike Evans has been in this league a long time. Players, the longer they're in the league, and this is in all the sports, if you get moved around, you want to go to some place that gives you the best opportunity to win a championship. Daggone, go to the NBA. Doc Rivers just became the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, team that's in second place, left being an analyst because that team has a chance to win it all. Didn't really care to come off for, what would be the Charlotte Hornets, some team that's just having, selling everything before the trade deadline to try to get better. But anyway, I want to keep going through some more comments. Appreciate that, Chuck B. Appreciate it very much. Again, a reminder for those that are watching, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Going to continue to keep you all full of content this off season. We improved our coverage a lot this past regular season, starting with training camp. Covered every single day of training camp, bringing you videos of Bryce Young throwing the ball and recaps. Carried it over throughout the season, right? So we increased our regular season coverage. This year, we're going to increase significantly our off-season coverage. And what that means is that the next time you will see me on location will be in Indianapolis for the Combine to continue to cover and report on that. So appreciate you tuning in. Like the video, subscribe. Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media. I will continue to be a resource for you all, and got a friend in the media. That's me. All right, let's keep on going through some of these comments that we have here. All right, Colton, I feel like Adam is going to ask to leave based on his comments at the end of the year. Also, I'm curious what we will do with Sanders and Hurst as far as if we will keep them or not. So, Colton, I promise to get more into personnel as things evolve, as all the coaching staff is in place. I think it just becomes way too complicated what ifs. But I'll touch on these quickly. So Adam Thielen, yes, I feel like he's a guy that could request to be out of here because he didn't come here to be part of rebuilding. He came here maybe not thinking that they were going to win this year, but saying, okay, go this year, help get this team into the playoffs, get that second year with Bryce and everybody else and Frank, and be a contender, finish out my career in Carolina. He's already been pretty involved here in the community in Carolina, even recently giving them a high school a new gym of weights, if that makes sense, putting weights in a new high school gym for a football team. But yeah, he did say this was not what he envisioned. And, you know, all the new pieces to come in place, yeah, I think most people are going to be thinking this is a 2-3 year planish. You know, he got a very long contract. Strike while the iron's hot. He had a really, really good year last year for the Carolina Panthers. It could be an opportunity for Thielen to move. Sanders, yeah, he should, you know, I don't know if he's going to be here. Certainly running backs seem like they've gotten devalued. You're paying that guy a lot of money. I'm not sure. Wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't here. Hayden Hurst, same thing. Same thing. A lot of these guys just, I don't feel like they're likely to be here. Okay, Grim Reaper giving me some more comments or context to his previous comments. Says, to clarify, no matter how positive the moves that we make are, the media still trashes our team. I will say this. Our team, the Carolina Panthers, they don't deserve much optimistic credit right now. Why? Because ever since our new owner, David Tepper, has been here, we haven't done diddly. We haven't done anything. So it's more like, you know, I'm sure the national media will come on board, not only after we make moves, but once there is some success and there is some sustained success. You got to think, go back to that 15-1 season with the Carolina Panthers. It wasn't until the tail end to that last quarter of the season in which national media really started to say, okay, this team may be real. I mean, I don't remember the exact week that it took place, but I know, go back, look at week 8, look at week 9. Was Carolina Panthers in anybody's power rankings, ESPN, NFL.com, any of those power rankings, were we number 1? Were we top 5? No. It took the last quarter of the season for us to get all that respect that we got as we made that Super Bowl run. So no, we're not going to get any national media attention until with any big name signings. You know, that signing may get you some coverage for a week, but not until we start to put some wins together and some back-to-back wins, which is fine. You know, these guys don't need a lot of attention right now. They just need to focus, get their stuff together. Hey, look at this. You know, we got to get some of this right here. Peter Blood, I like this channel. Just subscribe. Peter, appreciate it very, very much. We try. Drew Williamson, do you think we will try to gain any more draft capital before the draft? If so, who will be traded? Yes, I absolutely think we will try to get some more draft capital because we have a lot of holes to fill. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a ton of guys that we can use in that way because so many of them are free agents. And I will again say I haven't done all of my roster studying yet to be able to be fluent on that. But other than Derek Brown, who's the big name that we have that's under contract in the future? Yeah, I don't know, but I would certainly think we're going to try because we have so many pieces that we need. Let's see. Got a new face here, Jared Taylor. Howdy, Panthers fans. What's up? Let's show some love for Jared Taylor. jumped into the chat with us. Appreciate it, Jared. If you haven't already done so, please hit that like button. Didn't they cut Robbie Anderson? No, we actually traded Robbie Anderson, amazingly, to the Arizona Cardinals. And then he went to the Miami Dolphins, and then I think he's no longer on the Dolphins at this point. But we actually were able to trade Robbie Anderson. Potentially you could trade a Terrace Marshall as well. It could be the same type of deal with Robbie, where you essentially trade him for a 6th round pick or something. I forget all the terminologies, but potentially there's still a potential to trade. You guys want to get into this personnel stuff, don't you? I promise the personnel discussions will come more once I hear from Canales, once I hear from Morgan, and know what they're thinking they want to do with this team. So right now it's so complicated to answer, but would you trade Burns for a 1st and a 3rd round pick? So that would involve Burns wanting to, you'd have to probably franchise. I'm sorry, Nate. That's too many levels on that one for me to go at right now, but I appreciate it. Yes, my ice cream is melting, but I like it slightly melted. It's pretty good melted right now, but I got to be here for you guys. And my son has gotten quiet, so I really, really wonder what's going on downstairs. I have not heard anything for like 20 minutes. Checking out a few more of these comments here. Trade Sanders. So the thing about trading Miles Sanders is that he has a nice contract. He doesn't have one of these, pretty cheap contract. He was the highest paid free agent last year in that running back group. And he totally blew it. I don't know if those guys are doing that group text anymore, but I'm sure somebody wanted to send him a thanks a lot, text for being the highest paid and then going out and being the worst performing. So to be able to pick up Sanders on a trade, why would I want to do that as a GM? I mean, the guy severely, and I liked him, talked to him in the locker room several times, appreciate the candor and the realness that he had with his conversations or in his conversation with me. But just from a performance business standpoint, I don't see a trade being possible because he just underperformed so much. I'm going to check this one out. We need to try to keep Derek Brown, I'm sure you meant Chin, Luvu, and let go of Jackson as well as CJ Henderson. Burns can go for the picks and free agent dollars for positions we need. All right, Shannon Taylor, appreciate the comment. Chuck B, we haven't paid the key guys in free agency. We already have, and that will make it hard in free agency. Yeah, nobody's gotten a big paycheck. A little bit of that is we haven't had too many guys that were really that great. As in, when I say that great, top tier, like top tier in a while. But, no, we don't seem to give anybody big paychecks, but also kind of balance it with saying we haven't had too many of the, hymns. That's him kind of guys right now on the roster. One second. All right, so let me put this on the screen and provide some context. All right. So we just hired a Mexican minority coach. Shouldn't we pick up a third compensatory pick? Once again, we just hired a Mexican minority coach. Shouldn't we pick up a third compensatory pick? So the answer is no. I actually had this come up yesterday about getting compensatory picks because we have the new minority coach. So the way it actually works is only when you lose that coach to another team could you get those picks. Again, only when you lose that coach or executive to another team, not when you gain that coach. So possibly on the flip end, if he's taken away, would that happen? But I believe, and I'm not 100% on this, I'll go to verify it with some executives here shortly, that if we end up firing Canales, would that happen? Only if some team just takes him before his contract is up from us. But anyway, biggest thing, flat out, no, we do not get compensatory picks for hiring the minority coach. It only happens when you lose. All right, so hopefully that is helpful. I know that question has come up yesterday. I didn't know why. Just did my research about it. That is your why. Gabe, excellent question. Appreciate it very, very much. Trade J.C. Horn. There's so much you could do. So much you could do. What's good, Chris? Hope your family is doing well. Do you think Thomas Brown stays? And I see we need a new O-line and special teams coach. So this guy right here. Trying to hit all my buttons. Thomas Brown is not staying. Officially, Thomas Brown will not be retained by Canales. They've actually put in requests to interview offensive coordinators from the Bucs and from, well, they're not currently offensive coordinators, but a member of the Bucs organization. They're wishing to interview for the offensive coordinator position here in Carolina, as well as a member of the Eagles organization. They are wishing to interview for the offensive coordinator position here. So Brown is out in Carolina. Thomas Brown is out in Carolina. Great dude. I feel like he certainly still has potential to be a good coach and to get that opportunity. Just didn't quite get it yet. But Brown has also interviewed for the head coach job for the Titans, offensive coordinator for the Steelers, two other teams that I cannot remember off the top of my head at this moment. Let's see if I can quickly go to my notes. I can't. But yeah, thanks for the question, Rock, and hopefully there is your answer. Battlehawks agreeing, no one will pay Sanders' salary. Chris, your son is probably watching your live show downstairs with your wife. That has happened before, but I don't know. If you're watching, come up here, Cyrus. Come on up here. Join me on the rest of the tail end of the show. We're about to get off here. And again, for those that are new watching the channel, I appreciate you tuning in. Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media for the Carolina Panthers. Been covering the team since 2006. And my style of covering the team is I like to be personal. I like for everyone watching to feel like you now have a friend in the media. That is myself, Chris Jenkins, to ask whether it's simple questions, whether it's complex questions, whatever it may be. That's why I go by the title Man of the People. So I hope you're enjoying the channel. Hope that you will consider subscribing to the channel. Help us continue to grow. Hit that like button. The more fans find out about us, the bigger that we can grow and the more information that I can share with you guys. So appreciate that very much. I know we had a few people subscribe doing this show already. Just going through a few more of the comments here. Some of these comments I'm going to have to skip over. The fact that the Panthers are cleaning the house, letting go of Tabor friends, means that Tabor is not controlling as before. So that's going to, you just hope there's progress, right? He's an owner. He has a right to be involved in his team. You just got to find the sweet spot, right? How much do you take advantage of that right of being the owner to influence things? So maybe it's a case where he was new to it, felt like he knew a lot, and said, all right, I want to try to be involved because I know. Maybe at this point he's like, maybe it takes a little bit more than I have, so I still will be involved, but I'm going to try to do it less because the track record says what I've been doing isn't working, but I'm still going to be involved. So when it's mentioned that Canales and Morgan will report to Tabor, I still wonder what that's about. What does that mean? What does that look like? I don't, because and that information came from the Panthers organization themselves. That wasn't, insiders that were able to report that. It came from the team themselves. So I don't really know what that means. I feel like he put that. Did David Tabor make sure that was put out there to say, hey, I don't know. It gets complicated, but we'll see. It certainly seems like some things are different, and hopefully those things that are different will be enough for this organization to turn around, because the 6 years that he's been the owner have been pretty painful. Pretty painful. Also, I do see some comment about the minority coaches that leave. Yes, the minority coach has to be with the team for at least 2 years before we would get compensatory picks should they leave for another team. I hope everybody enjoyed the show today. I'm gonna just assume that you guys wouldn't mind giving me a round of applause for the efforts. So probably no video tomorrow. Going to be watching the games, but looking for Monday things to resume. And also, again, saying strongly believe, I strongly know, next week we will have that interview, the media availability with Head Coach Dave Canales. Don't know who all else will be included in that. Typically, David Tabor at least will speak at that engagement. The general manager hasn't in the past, but I will also say this. We've not had a new general manager and coach at the same time and forever. So I don't know how they may play it. I mean, generally it's a really big production, if you will, when there's a new head coach. Meaning there's videos, there's speeches, there's prepared statements, and it's long enough when all these different people talk. So I don't know. I feel like they may split up, giving Morgan a different opportunity, because to have availability with Morgan, Canales, and Tabor, that's a pretty long day. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching. See you again shortly. I'm Chris Jenkins for Charlotte Vibe.